Okay, we're starting a new Penn Point, and we're starting it right now. This episode of Penn Point is brought to you by Gamefly. Go to www.gamefly.com/pen for your free trial membership. As you might know, clean water is one of the scarcest resources in the world. We need it to survive, and yet nearly 1 billion people don't have access to it. We want to get involved, so we're partnering with Charity Water to make a difference. Charity Water is an organization that donates 100%. That's all, 100% of the money it raises to building wells and bringing clean water to communities in need. They're leveraging technology in really creative ways to mobilize people around the cause, and we want to get you, our viewers, involved. Each show on Revision 3 is reaching out to our viewers to raise money to build wells. It takes $5,000 to build a well that can provide clean water to an entire village. $5,000. That's what a VCR cost in 1978. $5,000 to build a well to provide clean water to an entire village. So we need your help to make a difference. Go to revision3.com/charitywater to learn more and get involved. I just read this book, and I kind of do, one of the things I do on Penn Point is book reports. And the book report I want to do on this one is about this book called "Was This Man a Genius" by Julie Hecht, which is not a new book. It's a book about Andy Kaufman, and I'm a huge fan of Andy Kaufman. And when Teller and I were first starting out in the late 70s, Andy Kaufman was all over the place, and we'd watch his stuff all the time and just cheer it on, because Teller and I were never comfortable in comedy. We never considered ourselves, we never worked comedy clubs, or very rarely worked comedy clubs, we don't want to lie. But we didn't consider ourselves comedians. We didn't consider ourselves magicians. I guess we mostly considered ourselves writers and theater guys. And there was this nut, Andy Kaufman, who was doing this incredibly cool shit, and was considered a comedian. So it made us feel okay being brought into that world. And of course, we were on Saturday Night Live. We were mostly proud because we were on the same show that Andy Kaufman had been on, and Lorne Michaels had been so cool to put him on. So Andy Kaufman was really important to us, and we even met him once, or saw him once. I never saw him do a show. We saw him once. He was at like a flea market in Southern California, like Orange County, and he was denying he was Andy Kaufman. He was wearing like a cowboy hat and denying he was like that. I don't know what he was saying, but something like very disparaging things about the sissy who was on TV, and he wasn't him. He just happened to look like him. He didn't look like him that much. He was much taller and stuff, and doing his whole performance art out there in the world. So there's this book by Julie Hecht, which I guess came out a bunch of years ago, but I just heard about it from Sarah Hochman, who was my editor for my book that's coming out next year. And I had breakfast with her in New York City, and she told me about this really, really cool book that started out as an article for Harper's or something, and then turned into this very short book. I read it on like the plane flight about Andy Kaufman. And what's great about this book, it's interviews with Andy Kaufman, and very frustrating interviews where Julie Hecht tries desperately to get Andy to explain to her what he's doing and why he's doing it, and Andy just fucks with her and drives badly and claps along in the wrong lane and does this really cruel stuff to people and just nutty shit he says to her. But what makes the book great, and also Bob Zmuda becomes really important in this, what makes the book great is Andy Kaufman was so hip and so great that people, and I'm included, which I'm often not, I'm included in the category of people on this one. People try to pretend they understood him more than they did. So you kind of try to nod. Like if you're talking about Andy Kaufman, it's really, really uncool to say that you didn't get it. You're supposed to explain that of course you did get it and only the idiots didn't get it. And what Julie, I'm talking like I know her, but what Ms. Hecht does in this book is she's very, very upfront about liking Andy, loving his work, thinking he's very entertaining, but really not understanding where he's coming from or what he's doing. I just said where he's coming from, like I was on Mod Squad or something. But not really understanding his heart or what he's really doing. And she just keeps asking him over and over again these questions, and in all sorts of different funny ways he tells her to fuck off. But she keeps asking, and finally, at the end of the book, he kind of does talk to her for what seems like, which you can never tell with Andy, from his heart about what he really thinks he's doing. And so I found it very inspiring. And what's great about this book is a lot of books about great men and women inspire you to be more like them. And this book inspires you to be more like yourself. I mean, there's a quote by Thelonious Monk who once said, "The genius is the one who's most like himself." And that's a quote that I use to my son and to my daughter. The genius is the one who's most like himself. And Andy Kaufman was certainly the most like himself and right up there. And this book is just great. It is my book report on it. And it'll bring up a lot of questions about Andy Kaufman. And if you're interested in that kind of genius of what's called comedy from the 70s, it's a great book. Was This Man a Genius by Julia Hecht. And then this episode of Penn Point, I should go into that. I should have done it before the tease, but I didn't, so fuck you. GameFly is the largest online video game rental service and offers you a choice from over 7,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. With plans starting at $15.95 a month, GameFly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as they like. There are no late fees, no due dates, and shipping is always free. Once you're done playing a game, send it back, and GameFly will send you the next available game on your list. If you really like the game you're playing, simply click Keep It on the GameFly website, and the game is yours at a discounted price. GameFly will even mail you the case and manuals free of charge. Penn Point fans get a 15-day free trial when they go to www.gamefly.com/Penn. That's www.gamefly.com/Penn, because we're on Penn Point.